In this video, we will talk about JSP objects. So there are two types of JSP objects. One is explicit objects and another is implicit objects. We have already seen implicit objects in detail. So these objects are the objects that the JSP container creates itself, and they are made available to us so that we can use them on each JSP page directly without creating them explicitly. Then explicit objects, these are typically Java Bean instances that are declared and created using the JSP useBean tag. So what a Java Bean instance is, Java Bean is nothing but a Java class, and there are some restrictions that are that are required on this Java class, which is that it should have all fields that are private, and to access these private fields, we should have public methods which are called getters and setters. So every field should have a getter and a setter, and there should be a no argument constructor in that class. Also, because the fields are private, that is why the fields will only be accessed by the constructor or the getters and setters. So these are the restrictions on a Java bean. And if you want to create instances of this class, then we can create those instances using the JSP useBean tag. So the object is created and it is injected in our JSP file. So to do that, this is the syntax. We use JSP useBean along with the ID. So you can consider the ID to be like the object reference. Here we specify the class. So this is the package name mybeans, and name bean is the name of the class. And we can also specify the scope. So the scope of the given object. So we can create our object in any of the four scopes of a JSP. So we can specify page, session, or application or request here. So the useBean tag is used to create an instance of a Java Bean class. If the bean instance is already existing, then this tag will return the existing instance. So depending on whether we are calling useBean for the first time for a given object, uh, the object will either be created, and if we are calling it for the second time, then second or consecutive times, then the existing object which we had already created, it will be returned. By default, it calls the default constructor of the Java Bean class. So here we have created a Java Bean class which we are calling as student. So we have created student.java in the bean package in the source packages folder. And for this class student, we will be creating two properties or two attributes. So one is string sname and another is int sid. Now for this class to be a Java Bean, we have to mandatorily keep these two data members as private, and we will also be generating getters and setters for this. So we'll create get sid, get sname, as well as set sid and set sname. So these are the getters and setters that we have created, and always make sure to follow this naming convention where the getter method will start with small get and then the field name where the first letter of the field is capital. Same is followed here, and the return type should be the same as that of the field. And in case of a setter method, set in small and then the field name where each first letter of the word will be capital, and here we will be passing the argument of type of the field, and the method returns void. So this is the conventions to follow for writing the getter method and the setter method. And then we also need to create a constructor, so a no argument constructor which is public. So we have created a no argument constructor here, and let us just give it some initial value. So sname is equal to no name and sid is equal to 0. So this is what we are writing in the default constructor. We can also create a parameterized constructor. So here we have string sname and string int sid, and we are just setting the values. So this is our Java bean that we have created. Now we will go to our file and see how we can create a Java bean instance in our JSP file. To use the bean in a JSP page, we will simply use the useBean tag in this way, where we are specifying the ID, class, and scope. The set property tag of JSP will be used to set the properties of a bean instance. So if we want to set the sname or the SID of the student, we will use this set property tag, which will call the setter methods of the Java Bean class. That is why we need the setter methods to follow the proper naming convention, and that is why we need a separate setter method for each property. So the attributes of the set property are name. So in the name we will specify the bean whose property we need to set. So which is the ID of our bean. So whatever we have specified in the ID, like here we say ID is equal to S1. So in case of the set property tag, we will specify name is equal to S1. Then in property attribute, we will specify the property which needs to be set, that is the attribute or the data member name which needs to be set. So in our case, it can be either sname or SID. And then the value that we want to pass to the property. So this value AB and the value 2 will be passed to the set sname and set SID methods respectively. So when we first time call this useBean tag, the no argument constructor will be called to create the object, and then the setter methods will be called when we call the set property method or set property tag. Now the set property tag can either be used inside the JSP useBean tag or outside the JSP useBean tag. So the set property tag will only work inside the useBean tag if the call to useBean or the useBean tag is returning a new instance, and if it is not returning a new instance, if it is returning an existing bean instance, then in that case the set property tag needs to be written after the useBean tag. So as you can see here, the JSP useBean tag starts and it ends here, and after the end of useBean tag we have to specify the set property tag. There is another JSP tag which is get property. So this action tag will get the value of the property that we have specified. So we have to specify the name of our attribute or the data member name, and then it will convert the value of that data member to a string and directly write it to the response that we are writing. So this is the syntax. This is the JSP get property tag. In the name attribute, we will specify the ID of the object, and in place of this property, we will specify the attribute name that we want to get. So this line basically is a call to the get sname method, and similarly we can get the ID as well. So for that we will write JSP get property name is equal to S1 and property is equal to SID. So here, since we are calling the useBean tag to create the object S1 for the first time, so the constructor is going to be called here, the no argument constructor, where we have specified the name to be no name and the id to be 0. So first we will try and see what the values are. So name is, and to get the name we will use JSP get property tag, and here in place of name we will specify s1, which is the object or instance name, instance id, and in property we will specify s name. Similarly we will do the same for sid. Now if we run this code, this is the output that we get. Since the object was created using the default constructor, the name has been initialized to no name and the value of sid is 0. Now we may use the set property method action tag here. So we can say JSP set property, name is s1, the property that we want to set is sname, and the value is, let's say, ABC. We'll do the same for SID. Now when we run this code, we will get the values of ABC and 23 in place of name and SID. A very useful trick to use here with the set property tag is that we can set all of the properties at once, provided that if we are getting parameters from the request with the same name as that of the properties here. So we'll see an example of that. So here we have index1, and in this index1 file we have created a form. So this is a form for taking input from the user, and let's say we are taking some fields as input. So we are taking these three fields as input. One is sname, sid and side, and we have a submit button, and on click of this submit button we will be passing the control to object scope.jsp. Now in object scope.jsp, what we will be doing here is, instead of writing the set property tag for each of the properties, we can simply skip this and write property is equal to star, which means that set all properties. And now because the request contains some parameters which have some values, the request parameter names will be matched with the property names of this use bean, and they will be mapped together and the values will be automatically set. So if we run index1.jsp, so these are the three input text fields, and let us enter QUE 89 and some side value. So when we submit, the name is automatically mapped to the sname parameter from the request, and this SID is automatically mapped to the SID. Because the names were same, that is why this mapping has automatically. Next we write a JSP file which is object scope1.jsp, and here we will try to access the same Java Bean instance s1, and we will try to set the properties of it to some new value and print the properties. So because we are accessing this object for the second time, That is why we are using the set property tag outside the JSP usebean tag, because if we use it inside it will not work. So you can also try out this code by keeping the set property lines inside the JSP usebean tag. So the values will not be changed. So the value that we are setting is RCOEM and S60. To transfer control from the object scope.jsp to object scope1.jsp, we are using the JSP include tag here. So now here, as we can see, this is the output of object scope.jsp, where we have set the name to these values, and then this is the output of the included file, which is object scope1.jsp. And in the file object scope1, we are first getting the same bean. So we are getting the same bean S1, and we are setting the values to RCOEM and 60. So the values have been set and they have been printed using the get property tag here.